There are certain devices in the Nexus Switch product line that have a feature called Unified Ports. These ports have the ability to either be an Ethernet port or a fiber channel storage port. You can change the identity of them as you see fit. There are some rules to how you change the identity of them, as far as the Ethernet ports start on the left in most cases and move to the right. So I could make Ethernet port 1 through 4 or 1 through 16. And the storage ports usually start from the high side and come down. So for instance, if I had a 48 port switch, I might start at 48 and go the other way. So it would be, for instance, 40 through 48 could be my storage ports, and the rest would be my Ethernet ports. They need to be configured in a contiguous manner. The only exception that I've found to this is that recently we released a new FEX that can do unified ports. I believe it's the 2348 UPQ. In that device, you actually go from the low numbers to the high numbers for the fiber channel ports, and you go from the high numbers to the low numbers with the Ethernet ports. So once again, these are switch ports that we can change the identity at will to either be Ethernet or storage ports. The other thing to take into consideration is that we can do the same thing on UCS. So when you're planning your LAN uplinks and your SAN uplinks, we can actually have those ports become different identities. You can actually assign some of the ports to be fiber channel ports and some of the ports to be Ethernet ports. Now that's usually done on a slider from the UCS Manager GUI in the Equipment tab. Let's take a look at my Nexus 5000 series switch. In this switch, if I do a show module, in my expansion slot, I have a 16-port card that I can change the identity of those ports to anything I want to. If I want to go ahead and change the identity of those ports, what I first have to do is go to Configure Terminal, my global configuration mode. I then have to configure the ports in that slot. So I'm going to choose slot 2 because that's where my card is plugged in, and then I can configure the ports by saying port 1 through 16 and then telling the device the type of port I want to configure those to. So I can say they're all fiber channel or they're all Ethernet. Once again, if I want to do some fiber channel and some Ethernet, I could do 1 through 8 Ethernet and 9 through 16 fiber channel. In this case, I want to do them all fiber channel. I would enter this command, and then I would exit out of this mode, which configures the ports. And then, because I'm using a module, I have to power off and power back on that module. If I was changing the ports on the switch, I could just reload the switch. I've already done the configuration here because I didn't want to wait for the module to reboot. So now if I do a show interface brief, I can see that the ports in that expansion module have now turned to fiber channel ports, and I can configure them like I would a fiber channel port versus an Ethernet port. When I do my show running config, I can see right away that my fiber channel ports are listed near the top. If I rerun my show running config, I can also see that there's a command on the second page near the top that says slot 2, ports 1 through 16, type fiber channel. So these are some of the ways that I can verify that I have my configuration set correctly. Just remember that they have to be in a contiguous manner, with the Ethernet ports usually starting on the low end and going high, and then the fiber channel ports starting on the high end and going low, and that you have to reboot after you make that change. And it's always great to put those fiber channel ports in expansion module because I can reboot the expansion module without having to reboot my whole switch if I want to make changes in production. Please join me for the next lesson, 5.10, introducing the features and benefits of a unified fabric.